and he had a few issues which were based not on reality. And his frustrations were growing and growing and growing. He was shouting at me, I was shouting back at him. It wasn't nice, it wasn't pleasant at all.
Prince Louis has always been known as the lively, mischievous, and free-spirited child of the royal family. From his playful antics at public events to his cheeky interactions with his family, he was adored for bringing a refreshing energy to the monarchy. But something has changed, and the shift has been so sudden and unexpected that even his parents, Prince William and Kate Middleton, have been left in tears. The transformation didn't happen overnight, but it became increasingly noticeable over the past year. Louis, once the unpredictable and carefree royal, now appears more reserved, composed, and unusually mature for his age. The little boy who once made headlines for sticking his tongue out at royal gatherings and covering his ears during loud celebrations now stands quietly beside his family, following protocol without question. For any parent, watching a child grow up is bittersweet. But for William and Kate, this change in Louis feels even more profound. They always wanted their children to have as normal a childhood as possible, away from the rigid expectations of royal life. Yet, despite their efforts, the pressures of the monarchy seem to have reached Louis earlier than expected. Is this transformation a natural part of growing up, or has something or someone pushed Louis into changing? The royal family is known for its strict traditions and unspoken rules, and even the youngest members are not exempt from them. While George and Charlotte always seemed to understand their roles, Louis was the one who brought a sense of fun and rebellion. But now, that spark seems dimmed. For William and Kate, this transformation raises painful questions. Have they unintentionally allowed the royal system to shape their son too soon? Did they fail to protect his childhood innocence? As they watch their once free-spirited boy slowly conform to royal expectations, they can't help but wonder, was this change inevitable, or did something happen to trigger it? As Louis steps further into his role within the royal family, the world is left wondering, is he truly growing up? Or is this a sign of something deeper? Could this be the beginning of a struggle between personal identity and royal duty, one that even his parents can't shield him from? And as the young prince continues to evolve, his parents' tears may not just be for the child he was, but for the future he is now stepping into. The playful prince, a royal known for his liveliness. From the moment Prince Louis made his royal debut, it was clear he was different from his siblings. While Prince George and Princess Charlotte carried themselves with the discipline expected of future royals, Louis brought a wild, carefree energy that quickly made him a fan favorite. He was the child who couldn't sit still, who made funny faces during official events, who stole the spotlight without even trying. His natural charm and mischievous nature made him a joy to watch. And his parents always seemed to take it in stride, laughing along as he entertained both the crowd and the cameras. During family outings and royal appearances, Louis's antics were a reminder that, despite the formalities, the royal family was just like any other. Who could forget his hilarious expressions at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, when he stuck his tongue out, covered his ears at the sound of the jets, and made faces at his mother? His playful behavior was refreshing in a world of strict royal etiquette. Kate and William always encouraged their children to be themselves, balancing discipline with allowing them the freedom to grow into their personalities. Louis, in particular, was given space to explore, to laugh, and to embrace his natural liveliness. But now, something has changed. Recently, Louis's public appearances have painted a very different picture. He stands still, hands folded, no longer the little boy who danced around in excitement or whispered jokes to his siblings during royal engagements. The twinkle in his eyes remains, but the uninhibited spirit that once defined him seems to be fading. Has he simply grown up, or has he been told to change? The monarchy is built on structure and discipline, and even young royals eventually learn that their public image is just as important as their private selves. But for Louis, this shift seems to have come too quickly. His parents, who once embraced his wild nature, now find themselves torn between allowing him to be himself and guiding him to fit into the expectations placed upon him. And as the world watches this transformation unfold, one question lingers: how much of Prince Louis' free spirit will remain in the years to come? The Platinum Jubilee moments. The world loved his antics. The Queen's Platinum Jubilee was meant to celebrate Her Majesty's historic reign, but for many people, the true star of the event was Prince Louis. His lively, unpredictable energy stole the show, making him one of the most talked-about royals of the celebration. Throughout the event, Louis had the crowd and even his own family laughing. Whether it was making faces at the balcony, covering his ears dramatically as planes flew overhead, or bouncing with excitement, he was completely himself, unfiltered, joyful, and completely unaware of the royal protocol that dictated how he should behave. Kate and William, ever the doting parents, tried to manage his behavior with patience and understanding. At one point, Kate gently placed a hand on his lap to calm him down, but the little prince was too excited to sit still. The interaction became an internet sensation, with many parents relating to Kate's attempts to rein in her energetic child. But beyond the laughs and memes, there were murmurs of concern. Some royal insiders reportedly felt that Louis was too free-spirited for a future royal, and that steps needed to be taken to ensure he followed a more controlled path. Was the pressure of public scrutiny too much for a child his age? Shortly after the Jubilee, royal observers began noticing subtle changes in Louis. His next public appearances were noticeably calmer. Too calm. It was as if someone had spoken to him about how he was expected to behave. Gone were the spontaneous outbursts of energy, replaced by quiet observation. Had the young prince already learned that his natural personality wasn't considered royal enough? For Kate and William, this realization must have been heartbreaking. They had always wanted their children to experience as much of a normal childhood as possible. Yet, here was Louis, already facing the weight of royal expectations. The Jubilee may have been a moment of joy for the public, but for Louis, it may have marked the first time he understood that being a prince wasn't just about having fun. It came with rules, expectations, and a loss of the freedom he once knew. And as he continues to change, his parents are left questioning, did they do enough to protect him from the pressures of royal life? The start of a surprising shift. A calmer Louis emerges. Not long after the Platinum Jubilee, something changed in Prince Louis. At public events, he no longer displayed the boundless energy he was known for. Instead, he was quieter, more composed, and seemingly aware of how he was being watched. The playful expressions were still there, but they were more subdued. The cheeky grins and spontaneous antics that had once defined him had been replaced with more measured behavior. It was as if he had suddenly matured overnight. Royal experts speculated that this was simply a natural part of growing up. Children do change as they get older, after all. But for Louis, the shift seemed to happen too quickly, too suddenly. It wasn't a gradual transition. It was an immediate shift from wild child to well-mannered prince. Kate and William, while proud of his growth, couldn't ignore the bittersweet nature of this change. They had always wanted their children to have a sense of freedom, but now they saw firsthand how difficult that was in a royal environment. Louis's transformation may be a sign of his growing awareness of his role in the monarchy, but for his parents, it's also a reminder of how little control they truly have over how their children grow up in the royal system. Was this change inevitable, or was it a response to unseen pressures? And most importantly, will Prince Louis ever get to be just a child again? Prince Louis at home, a different energy. While the world has noticed a calmer and more composed Prince Louis during public appearances, his transformation extends beyond royal engagements. Even at home, Kate and William have noticed a shift in their youngest son's energy. Louis, once the loudest and most mischievous in the Cambridge household, now seems more thoughtful, more aware of his surroundings. His spontaneous bursts of laughter and playful chaos have softened. Though he still enjoys playing with his siblings, there's a newfound sense of restraint in his behavior. Kate has spoken openly about how she values an active and playful childhood for her children. She has always encouraged outdoor play, sports, and creativity in their home. William, too, has expressed his desire to give his children as normal a childhood as possible. But despite their efforts, Louis appears to be changing in ways they can't control. There are moments when they see glimpses of the old Louis, the cheeky grin, the playful teasing of his older siblings, but they are fewer and farther between. Kate, in particular, has found herself reminiscing about his younger years, wondering if she fully appreciated those carefree moments before they started slipping away. For any parent, watching a child grow up is bittersweet, but for Kate and William, this shift in Louis is more than just a natural part of childhood. It's a sign that the weight of royal expectations is already settling on their little boy's shoulders. The question that lingers is whether this transformation is truly Louis growing up, or if he is unconsciously adjusting to the expectations placed upon him. And if that's the case, how much of his playful spirit will he be allowed to keep? The loss of childhood freedom, a royal burden. For most children, growing up means learning new responsibilities while still being free to explore their interests. But for royal children, growing up means something entirely different. It means learning that every action is scrutinized, every word is analyzed, and every mistake is remembered. For Prince Louis, this realization seems to have come earlier than anyone expected. His natural, carefree personality made him stand out among his siblings and royal cousins. He was the one who didn't seem to care about the cameras, the one who reacted with pure emotion rather than carefully measured responses. But in a family where image is everything, was that freedom ever going to last? Some royal watchers believe that the shift in Louis's behavior is a direct result of the strict royal code of conduct. Even though William and Kate have worked hard to modernize the monarchy, they can't change the fact that their children are expected to uphold certain standards. The British public and media have long criticized royals for showing too much personality, especially when they're young. Prince Harry, for example, was labeled the rebellious prince as a child simply because he didn't conform to royal expectations the way his older brother did. Royal expectations versus personal identity, the dilemma. For Prince Louis, the transition from playful child to well-behaved royal has raised an important question. Can a royal child truly be themselves, or must they always conform to expectations? Throughout history, royal children have been expected to behave in a manner that upholds the dignity of the monarchy. There is little room for spontaneity, little tolerance for rebellion. And yet, those who suppress their personalities too much often struggle later in life. Prince Harry is a prime example of this internal battle. He was once the fun-loving prince, the one who could get away with breaking royal norms. But as he grew older, the pressure to conform became overwhelming, and he ultimately chose to walk away from royal life. Could Prince Louis face a similar dilemma in the future? Kate and William are aware of the challenges that come with raising a royal child. They want Louis to have the space to develop his own identity, but they also know that the monarchy requires discipline and restraint. Balancing these two realities is not easy. The pressure on Kate and William, a heartbreaking parenting moment. For any parent, seeing a child change is both beautiful and painful. But for William and Kate, watching Louis's transformation has been especially emotional. They always wanted their children to have a childhood filled with joy, adventure, and personal freedom. Unlike past royal generations, where strict rules governed every aspect of a child's upbringing, William and Kate took a different approach. They encouraged laughter, exploration, and even a bit of mischief. But now, they are facing a harsh truth. there are limits to how much they can protect their children from royal pressures. Kate, in particular, has always been a hands-on mother. She has spoken about the importance of mental health and emotional well-being, advocating for children to grow up in nurturing environments. Seeing Louis become more subdued has been difficult for her, as she wonders whether they have done enough to preserve his carefree spirit. William, too, has had to confront his own childhood experiences. He remembers what it was like to be a young prince under constant media scrutiny. He knows the burden of royal duty all too well, but watching it affect his youngest son so soon has been painful. The couple has likely had difficult conversations behind closed doors, wondering how they can maintain their parenting philosophy while preparing their children for their future roles. They may have hoped that they had more time before Louis had to face the realities of royal life. But the truth is, in the monarchy, childhood innocence doesn't last forever. And as they wipe away their tears, they can only hope that Louis will hold on to a piece of his playful, adventurous spirit, even as the world expects him to change. Prince Louis's transformation is more than just a phase. It's a reflection of the royal family's ongoing struggle to balance tradition with modern parenting. His journey will be watched closely in the years to come, not just by his family, but by an entire nation. The public's reaction. Where did the playful prince go? Prince Louis's transformation has not gone unnoticed by the public. Royal watchers and fans who once adored his mischievous antics have begun to question why he suddenly seems so different. His appearances at royal events used to be filled with laughter, cheeky expressions, and unpredictable moments that made him stand out from the rest of the royal family. But now, there is a noticeable shift. His once spontaneous gestures have been replaced by a more composed, reserved demeanor. Some believe that this change is simply a natural part of growing up. After all, children mature, and Louis is no exception. Others, however, worry that the young prince has been forced to suppress his personality too soon, perhaps due to growing expectations within the monarchy. The question many are asking is whether this transformation is genuine or the result of royal intervention. Was he told to behave more formally? Was he encouraged to take on a more serious role to align with royal standards? For now, Louis remains a beloved figure, but many are watching closely to see whether his playful spirit will resurface or whether it has been permanently dimmed by the weight of royal life. The influence of older siblings, learning from George and Charlotte. Prince Louis has grown up watching his older siblings navigate the challenges of royal life. As he matures, he is beginning to understand the roles that Prince George and Princess Charlotte play within the family, and how he fits into that dynamic. George, the future king, has always been more serious and composed. From a young age, he has carried the weight of knowing that one day he will sit on the throne. Princess Charlotte, while playful, has naturally taken on a leadership role, often helping her younger brother and setting an example for him. Louis, as the youngest, was always the most carefree. He had the freedom to be playful, without the same level of expectation placed on his older siblings. But as he observes George and Charlotte, it's possible that he has started to model their behavior, realizing that as a royal, certain conduct is expected of him. While Kate and William have always wanted their children to feel free to be themselves, the reality is that royal traditions run deep. The influence of his siblings may be playing a significant role in Louis's transformation, guiding him toward a future where duty takes precedence over individuality. The role of King Charles, a grandfather's influence. Prince Louis shares a special bond with his grandfather, King Charles III. Over the years, their interactions have shown a warmth and closeness that has helped shape Louis's understanding of family and duty. King Charles, who himself was once a young prince navigating the rigid structure of the monarchy, understands firsthand the pressures Louis is beginning to experience. Having spent his own childhood under the shadow of royal duty, Charles may see this as an opportunity to help his grandson adjust to his role at an early age. Reports suggest that Charles has taken an active interest in mentoring his grandchildren, particularly as he works to modernize the monarchy. While he has always been known for his more traditional approach, he has also expressed a desire for the royal family to evolve with the times. Could Charles be guiding Louis toward a more disciplined and refined public image? It's possible that his influence has contributed to Louis's recent behavioral shift, encouraging him to embrace the responsibilities that come with being a member of the royal family. At the same time, Charles's involvement could be a double-edged sword. While his wisdom and experience are invaluable, there is also the risk that Louis may feel the weight of royal expectations too soon. The challenge for Charles and for William and Kate is finding the right balance between preparing Louis for the future and allowing him to remain a child for as long as possible. The Christmas Carol incident, when innocence clashed with royal reality. A seemingly innocent moment at a Christmas event may have provided deeper insight into Prince Louis's transformation. During a traditional holiday gathering, young Louis was asked why Queen Camilla wasn't included on his kindness card. His response was simple, yet telling. Because she doesn't play with me. For a child, this might have been a straightforward observation, but for royal insiders, it hinted at something more profound. Unlike his parents and grandparents, Camilla has not played a significant role in Louis's upbringing. The queen consort, while an important figure in the monarchy, has not built the same personal connection with Louis that Charles has. His remark was a reminder that despite being born into royalty, Louis is still a child, one who values relationships based on warmth, affection, and playfulness. It also highlighted the generational gap within the royal family, where younger members see the world differently than those who have spent decades upholding strict traditions. The Christmas Carol moment may have been brushed aside by the royal family, but for those paying attention, it served as a glimpse into the inner thoughts of a boy who is still adjusting to the reality of royal life. The future of Prince Louis, a child caught between two worlds. As Prince Louis grows older, he will continue to navigate the delicate balance between personal identity and royal duty. Unlike his brother, Prince George, who is destined for the throne, Louis's future within the monarchy is less defined. Historically, spare royals, those who are not direct heirs, have faced challenges in finding their place within the royal family. Prince Harry's struggles with this identity led him to step away from royal life. And Princess Margaret, the Queen's sister, also grappled with what it meant to be a royal without a clearly defined role. What path will Louis take? Will he embrace royal duties like his older siblings? Or will he carve out his own identity outside of the monarchy? Kate and William have worked hard to ensure that all their children have a well-rounded upbringing, one that allows them to explore their passions and interests. But as Louis's transformation continues, the question remains, will he be given the space to grow into his own person? Or will the pressures of royal life shape his future before he has a chance to decide for himself? A royal family that must evolve. The bigger picture. Prince Louis's transformation is not just about one child, it reflects a larger issue within the monarchy. The world has changed, and the expectations placed upon royal children must change with it. The royal family has spent generations balancing tradition with modernity. But with each new generation, that challenge becomes more difficult. Prince William and Kate have tried to break old patterns by prioritizing their children's emotional well-being, but the pressures of royal life still loom large. As the monarchy faces increasing scrutiny, it must decide how much it is willing to adapt. Should young royals be allowed to express their individuality fully, or must they always conform to the expectations of the past? Louis's transformation may be a glimpse into how the next generation of royals will be raised. If he continues down this path, it could signal that the monarchy is not as willing to change as it claims to be. But if he is allowed to be himself, It could mark the beginning of a more modern, relatable royal family, one that embraces both duty and personal identity. The emotional conclusion, a bittersweet goodbye to innocence. For Kate and William, watching Prince Louis grow up has been both joyful and heartbreaking. They always knew that one day their carefree little boy would have to step into a more structured role, but they never expected it to happen so soon. His transformation has been met with mixed emotions, pride in seeing him mature, but sadness in realizing that the innocence of childhood fades too quickly in the royal family. But no matter how much he changes, one thing is certain. The playful spark that made Louis so beloved will always be a part of him. And as the years go by, the world will be watching to see whether that spark can survive the pressures of royal life, or if it will be extinguished altogether.